All right, everybody, back to the topics. Now, there are so many topics about World War II. You do not have to limit yours to the ones I'm offering. I'm just going to pose the ones or share topics that I know a little bit about that I think are some main parts of World War II. So there's some categories. So there's the European theater, mostly surrounding Germany, Africa, the Pacific theater, which focuses on Japan, the home front back in the US, technology and machinery, so weaponry. All right, first one. So Europe. So a question about Adolf Hitler, the Holocaust and Jewish people during World War II. Holocaust had to do with systematic rounding up and killing of Jewish people. Next, German warfare was particularly unique. They had incredible weaponry, but they also used psychological warfare even in their airplanes. This is called the Stuka, and it was a dive bomber. It had this siren that would be used to terrify people as it was planning an attack or dropping their bombs. Here's the U-boats, means underwater boats. German Panzer tanks, often thought of as the most superior tanks during the war. There was a campaign in Africa. Germany also invaded the Soviet Union and kind of double crossed the Soviet Union because Germany had this uh, pact with the Soviet Union not to attack Soviet Union, but then they surprised them. And next one, uh, General Montgomery, who was from Britain, versus Rommel, or the Desert Fox, against Germany. So these are two generals that battled each other. Now, Rommel's interesting because he often disagreed with Hitler and was one of the very few people who would try to stand up to him. The Battle of Britain, basically, here are civilians hiding in a subway um, tunnel. Here it says Piccadilly Circus. That's a subway stop in London. Another topic, firebombing and the effects of bombing in Europe. This is absolutely a terrifying experience, but something that was carried out against German cities, and their cities literally burned um, within just intensity. So you could look up various battles in Europe. That could be your search. Another topic, Normandy invasion or D-Day. This has some of the most iconic pictures from World War II. This is often what goes through your minds if you might imagine um, the Allies attacking against Germany, and this was in France because Germany held France at the time. This is a particularly dangerous event and took years of planning. Next one, Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. Now here is a memorial over the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor. So this could be one of your topics. The Japanese Zero, arguably one of the most deadly airplanes in air-to-air combat. The Bataan Death March, something that Japan did um, in the war. What was Japan's goal during World War II? Another interesting thing, Tokyo Rose, Japan's radio propaganda. Basically, it was a Japanese woman who spoke English on a radio, and it was propaganda to basically try to intimidate the Americans. Pacific battles. Now, there's lots of Pacific battles. Here's one that's probably one of the most memorable, which was in Iwo Jima. And here you have these soldiers staking their flag. This is in Iwo Jima. Here is the memorial for it in Arlington, Virginia. So other Pacific battles you could look for. So battles in the Pacific, battles against Japan, or the island hopping, Albert Einstein and the Manhattan Project, the effects of the atomic bomb, atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the debate about dropping the atomic bombs, stranded Japanese soldiers on the Pacific Islands. Literally, soldiers were left on these various little islands for decades, still thinking World War II had ended. Even into the 1960s and 70s, they thought World War II was still going on. The B-29 bomber, US's, the Iowa-class battleships, which you can actually still visit now, P-51 Mustang, B-17 bomber, the Japanese surrender. So finally, once again, you're going to pose a question and answer it. Here's what the assignment looks like. You're going to post it in a discussion. And I'm going to probably need to answer some more questions, so feel free to email me or join my Google Meets.